welcome back to the Great Stories podcast. I'm so glad you clicked on this episode. I am Ryan, your host for the show, and what the Great Stories podcast is a conversational style interview show where I sit across the table from somebody maybe that I know, or maybe we're all meeting for the first time, and we just hear their story. We hear what's gone into their life to make them who they are. But the biggest thing we talk about is how they came to know Christ and what it's looked like in the context of their real life to follow him, to be a disciple of his. We worship a God that's real, and these are real people following a real God in their real life. These interviews are unscripted, they're unedited, they're uncut, and this is a real deal. It's kind of fun. So I'm glad you clicked on the show, and my prayer is that these shows can be both entertaining, encouraging, inspiring to those who listen. It's been a little bit since I've done one of these interviews. It's been several weeks since WK's interview. Honestly, this show is it's a hobby. It's done in the spare time. So when spare time is short, there's no Great Stories podcast. But I got a little chunk of time, so I got 3 or 4 people lined up in the next couple weeks, and I'm just going to put them out as we record them. And I'm so glad that you're listening to this show. It's humbling to know that there's actually ears who hear what we have to say. If you want to support the show, there's basically 3 ways that you can do that. The first way is financially. It costs a few bucks to run something like this. And so we got a Patreon account going right now, and you can just search for it on patreon.com at The Great Stories Podcast. The second way that you can support the show is by sharing it. If you hear something in a show that reminds you of someone that you know, or you want to just kind of be a digital evangelist in ways, send the links out. You can share it on Facebook and just all those places. We got a Facebook page you can go to, The Great Stories Podcast on Facebook, and just share the episodes. That's how the word gets out. The third way you can support the show is by coming on it. I love talking to people. These are so fun to do, and what I tell everyone is that for every single person that sits across this table from me, there's 1,000, 1,000,000 other people just like them. And the same is true for you. There's 1,000,000 people out there just like you who could use, who would be encouraged to hear your life story and just what you have to say about Christ and what it means for you. This week, I got to sit down with a fella. Been chasing him around for a couple months. We finally got together. His name is Sachin. And I've known him for about 1.5 years. I thought I knew him for longer, but about 1.5 years. Awesome guy. Immigrated from India several years ago, and just had an interesting journey. We started talking about cricket for a long time. I got to learn all about it. I want to try it. We talked about guitars and music and just what it was like. His musical journey is fascinating, and some of the philosophy behind worship and things like that. But we got into the meat of just how he came to know Christ, and just an interesting transition from a very a legalistic culture in India, and even in America when he came here, to just seeing the amazing beauty of just how there isn't any work to be done. Actually, all the work has already been done. And it's just great to hear Sachin just go through that, and we got to go through it with him. So I hope as you sit on the third side of this table, I hope you enjoy this interview as much as we enjoyed recording it. Here we go. Awesome. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Sorry for the confusion getting here. The man cave is not.
It's supposed to be hidden. That's the whole point of authentic man cave experience.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not easy to get to.
Yeah. That's
great. So I didn't want to take a shot at pronouncing your whole name because I figure I would mess it up.
Yeah.
Can you say your full, all 3 of them?
Okay. Sachin Samuel Anand.
Anand.
Yep.
Anand. That's an Indian name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right on. What part of India is that from?
The name or me?
Both.
I don't know.
Are they different? Yeah.
Yeah. Sachin is a really it's a pretty common name, I guess. Popularized by this world famous cricket player.
Huh.
His name is Sachin Tendulkar.
Okay.
So after they named him Sachin, that name kind of picked on, and a lot of people started naming their kids Sachin. My dad was one of them.
Right on. Yeah, cricket's a big deal.
Huge deal.
I always see
World Cup time.
I see those guys at American high school on Sundays. They're always playing cricket.
Yeah.
I don't understand the game. I've never taken time to learn it, but it looks fun.
I spent a lot of my childhood playing cricket. A lot. Yeah, I used to. I mean, my dad used to play with me when I was a kid, and then after that, summer coaching camps and whatnot.
Yeah.
Just
you were into it then.
Yeah, I was totally into it. Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I was like playing with like the hard cricket ball, which was like leather and cork, and it can really injure you if you don't. Yeah.
So it's not a baseball. It's a.
It's definitely not a baseball, but it's similar. There's like one stitch that goes all around the ball.
Okay.
The seam. Baseball is a little bit different, and it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's like a stone, and it's. Yeah, you can get injured if you don't have the proper protection. Yeah.
So the object of the game, you have the pitcher.
Yeah.
And that seems to rotate.
Bowler.
The bowler, okay, and that's not the same guy, right? There's not.
It's not the same guy. He bowls 1 over, which is 6 balls.
Okay.
And then someone else takes over.
Okay. And then the guy at, I guess what I would call home plate, the batsman.
Yeah.
He's trying to keep that ball from hitting the sticks. And
the wickets, yeah.
Wickets. There's 3 of them.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're behind him.
Yeah.
So if the bowler hits those,
the guy is out.
He's out.
So, yeah, he's out.
One shot.
One shot.
Wow,
yeah.
No mercy.
One shot, no mercy. There's also like LBWs, which is leg before wicket. So if you try to block the ball from hitting the wickets before or if you try to block the ball, and if the umpire judges that your legs were right in front of the wickets, then it's out as well.
Okay.
Because I mean, you
you can't
just the bat is the only right way to hit the ball.
And so when he hits it, what happens then? Like,
so there's a boundary which is like a rope which is laid around, which is like kind of the shape of the field itself, but there's a rope that is laid around close to the periphery of that field.
Okay.
So if the ball goes over it, it's 4 runs. And then if it goes over it without bouncing, it's 6.
Huh.
So you've got to hit it really hard if you want to get the 6 runs.
And there's no like running, like it doesn't have to there's no tagging or anything.
There is running between the wickets. So the people, the batsmen, they cross over, and then so that's 1 run.
Okay.
So the person on the other side of the wicket, he gets to play the next ball. If they do 1 run, if they do 2 runs, then the guy who initially hit the ball comes back. So that's 1 run, and then
so that could just keep going.
Yeah, that can keep going. But at some point the fielder is gonna pick up the ball and throw it at the wickets. So if he throws it at the wicket when they're not in one of the close to the wickets before the crease, then he gets out. That's a run out.
I see. So there isn't like a okay, here we go kind of thing. Like I'm gonna throw that ball as soon as I can. You better be ready to hit it. Okay.
Yeah. You hit it and then you run, and then the fielder picks it up and throws it at the wickets.
So you're kind of watching. Like, okay. So you got to get back.
You've got to gauge it. Like, can I make a one whole run?
Yeah.
Have I hit it far enough?
Yeah.
And they both have to make that call. Even if one person hesitates, then the fielder can always target the guy who has hesitated and then throw it at that wicket.
Okay.
And
that seems kind of fun. Do you still play?
It's super fun. I just don't have people who I can play with. I would love to play that game. I mean, I love the game, but...
You should go talk to those dudes. on Sundays. I think they're in a league or something, like, because they all have matching like jerseys, and they seem, like they have their own. They're real serious about it.
Yeah.
All stretching out in the morning, and it's a
Right.
big deal.
Another game that I was really into was shuttle badminton. So I used to play that here because there's a lot of indoor courts here, like in Milpitas and around the area. So there's a lot of Asian people who play as well.
Yep.
So they've built a lot of those places around here. So
it's a fun game.
It's easy. I mean, it's easier to set up and play because with cricket, you've got to play it the right way. If you don't, it takes away from the fun of the game.
Right.
And the right way of playing it is with, like, almost like an armor.
Yeah.
Like there's pads for the legs. There's a thigh guard, which is under the clothing, which you don't see. There's like a chest guard on the side.
On that side that you're
on
facing.
On one side that we're facing the bowler. And there is an abdomen guard, which is like, for the guys. And then gloves for the hands.
Right.
And then there's a helmet. So many things going on.
Wow, you're ready for battle.
yeah.
That's fun.
But battle standing, like, facing the opponent.
I just went to a little league baseball game today.
Yeah.
And one of the kids got hit with a pitch.
Oh.
They're
on the face?
They're only throwing 30 miles an hour. It's not that bad. And I was like, it hit him on the inside of his elbow. Bam! He's all shaking his arm around. It's all right, buddy. Walk it off. Now I know where that term comes from. Walk it off, because you got to walk. You walk to first base. Yeah, I learned something today.
Yeah, I've got hit many times.
Yeah.
It's usually the shins with cricket because the ball bounces and then hits you.
Yeah. Well, and I've seen them throw it. It's not a traditional like overhand like dart. It's like this swinging arm thing, and that thing comes whipping around.
Yeah, and they also put a spin on it sometimes. So you can only really gauge what direction the ball is going after it has bounced.
So if it bounces, it can still hit the wicket.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're trying to hit the ball out of the dirt.
Yeah.
That seems tough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's one of the main difficulties of cricket because
yeah,
it's super easy when it comes straight without bouncing.
Right.
Because you have so much time from when it leaves the bowler's arm to when you're hitting it to gauge the trajectory of the ball. When it bounces, it can change so many things. You've got like less than like a half a second to make the decision and hit the ball,
So he's trying to chuck it right at your feet.
Yeah.
Spin it so it hits the ground, goes funky, and then So that's why when you get a hit, that's a big deal. That's hard. You're golfing.
Yeah.
With a moving, spinning ball.
And the bowler also has to make the decision, right? If he decides to bounce it very close to your leg, then the batsman can always takes two steps forward after he's released the ball and hit it before it bounces.
Huh.
So he's got to bounce it in that sweet spot where it's not too close to the batsman.
Yeah.
And not too far away where it gives him time to judge.
That's fun.
Yeah. Super fun. And it's like adrenaline filled sport for sure.
Well, I'll have to try it.
Yeah, you'll have to watch one of those games sometime, and then you'll get an idea of like what's going on.
That's fun.
Because they have a lot of like slow motion replays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Going on that you can actually see those, like you won't see it in like regular TV, but you'll see it when they're doing that.
That's fun.
Yeah, they release the ball with a spin like that, and then all sorts of spins, like left side spins, right side spins, spins in the forward and reverse direction too.
That's
like
cool.
It slows down and speeds up the ball. Crazy stuff.
I don't know where I would ever be able to try this. If you can't find anywhere to play, where I'll just walk on. Who is this giant white guy that doesn't know anything? Get out of here. No cricket for you.
You know what? They might take you on the team just for the sheer power that you...
It's the handicap.
You seem to possess. No, I mean, it's like... if the ball hits the bat... It's definitely a 6.
He's going. Yeah.
He's going. If it doesn't, he's out. If it does, he's...
Every 5th or 6th game, I'll get a hit. That'll be worth it. Just that one. The rest of it, I'll just entertain them all.
Yeah.
Just make jokes and just be bad.
You'd be like the tallest person to ever play cricket.
Legend. Everyone's going to name their kids after me, right? Oh, wait, they already did. Yeah.
Weber is going to be someone's first name. And that's what's going to happen.
Right. That'd be cool. That'd be legendary. Everybody in India, you see these kids all... Weber. What's Weber? Isn't that a German name? No, it's a cricket player. He's really great. Oh, well, that's fun. I got to try cricket now. I'll put that on my list of things. I'm not going to buy anything, though. I don't buy stuff until I'm sure. Yeah, just like the guitar.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. So, the guitar, I have it's a 6-string. Mm-hmm. Someone gave that to me. Stephen Lee gave that to me. Awesome guy.
Okay. How long ago?
Like a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And based on the amount of dust that's on it,
you picked it up like once.
Yeah.
Right after he gave it to you.
I tuned it.
Made sure it was in tune, and then you put it back.
Yeah. And then I tuned it twice.
Okay.
Because I tuned it once, and then it sat long enough to get out of tune, so I tuned it again. And then I learned how to play a C chord.
Oh, okay.
And then I forgot. So
okay.
That's it.
Because I was going to say that's, quite a thing to do in 1.5 years time, but then you forgot it. So
in the next 100, I'll know all the chords and then forget them. Yeah.
Like you'll know one chord at a time.
Right. Just one.
Then you learn another one and then forget it and then learn another one.
I got to learn those one chord songs, right? Yeah. How long have you been playing guitar?
I've been playing for close to 13 years, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that a India thing or a United States thing?
Oh, definitely an India thing.
Okay.
I think I did most of my practice back in India. I used to just lock myself in my room and just spend hours and hours, days with the guitar.
That's what you got
if you
to do.
saw my first guitar, all my frets are like worn out, like they're all flat to the fingerboard.
You still have it?
Yeah, I have it here.
Oh, that's cool.
I should bring it sometime to church. It still plays really well.
That's
it's
awesome.
an electric guitar.
Okay. What style of music did you learn in? I don't think of the guitar as a like India type instrument, like classically, right? So how'd you get into it?
You know what? Crazy story. When I was like maybe 10, when I was like 10 years old, I was like, I really wanted a guitar.
Huh.
And my fingers were not even long enough to hold a guitar chord. But I pestered my dad so much that he was like, okay, fine, I'll buy you one. And then we went to the guitar store and I looked at the most expensive guitar and I was like, I want that. I was like, okay, fine. And he bought it to me. I don't know why he did that. And for the next 6 years, you're talking about 1.5 years here.
Yeah.
6 years, I didn't even know how to tune it. Like,
you didn't touch it?
Yeah, I didn't touch it. Because at that time, I didn't know, like, we didn't even have internet. Like, I didn't know what tuning was. Like,
right.
You
can't just take YouTube lessons like I was planning to.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Like, I didn't know what YouTube was at that time.
Right.
It was that far back. I mean, we were talking about like close to 20 years back.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm 29 now, so it's like 19, 20 years back.
Yeah, the internet was still kind of a new thing.
Yeah.
Like, YouTube wasn't really a thing.
And I mean, we didn't even have a computer at that time, though.
Okay. Yeah, that helps.
Yeah. I mean, we got computer and then, internet was the 56.6 kilobits per second.
Oh, yeah.
That one.
Good luck. Yeah.
Good luck learning how to play guitar on YouTube, right?
Yeah, no streaming video.
Yeah, no streaming video.
So what was the inspiration for even wanting to play it? Like, who did you hear or where'd you see it?
I don't remember any of that. It was just like, so one of my dad's cousins used to play and I was like, that sounds really good.
Huh.
And I was kind of into singing a little bit at that time. I
Okay.
was in like choir and stuff like that. They kind of figured out that I was able to hold a note, like vocally. So I was like, okay, fine.
He's got an ear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not tone deaf. So
Right.
they used to like give me these opportunities to be part of choirs where we used to do like school Christmas plays or whatnot.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, this seems to be like a cool instrument to play. It was
Yeah.
just the coolness factor.
Right.
Versus like a piano. My grandma is a piano player, and she's been playing for like her whole life. She's been playing since she was 6. She's now like close to 90.
Okay.
She's been playing
Wow.
all her life. Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, and she used to play at churches, like those old hymns and stuff.
Yeah.
But guitar is always, it has that coolness factor.
Oh, yeah.
To it.
That's why I
you
wanted
stand
to-
and play. You walk around and play. You jump while you play. That kind of stuff.
You jump around.
Yeah.
I've never seen you jump while you play. That's baloney.
Oh, you should show up to practice on Thursdays.
Doing your windmills and wow, power
Right.
stance.
Right.
The power stance.
That's where I try out all the new stuff.
Yeah. So you do worship music in India? How
So
did that work?
in India, eventually when I started playing,
Yeah.
that was my mom was like, okay, we're gonna sell that thing or give it away to someone else.
Yeah.
Because what happened was eventually the strings started pulling the wood, and the guitar kind of bent. Like the wood, because humidity levels vary in India too, right?
Yeah.
The humidity levels are crazy, and it kind of there was just too much tension on the strings or whatever. It just started going bad. So my mom was like, okay, I know this one person. So my mom is a professor at a college,
Okay.
and we used to live in the college at like staff quarters where they
Okay.
had like homes for employees of the college.
Huh.
So there was another co-worker. There was a co-worker of my mom who used to like teach guitar, like
Yeah.
just basic lessons, and how to play chords, how to like strum. So my mom's like, I'm going to take you to him with the guitar, and we're going to figure out something. If you want to, because at that time when I was 16, my fingers had grown a little bit,
Yeah.
and so I was like, okay, I'll do it. And then I started playing all the chords and figuring out all of that stuff. And I was like, okay, I think I'm done. I've mastered the instrument. What else is there to do? Like in a year, right now, I'm like, I mastered the instrument.
Got it.
I was, and then I looked, and then I came across this one video where this guy wearing a blue shirt was just shredding on the electric guitar. It was
Who was it? You know who it was?
His name. He has like a YouTube name. It's called Fun2.
Okay.
You cannot see it. The video is still on YouTube. You cannot see his face. There's a hat that's hiding the face. There is a blue guy. There's a guy wearing a blue shirt with an electric guitar, and there's sunlight shining from the back of the from the back through a window. So this guy was just ripping like a traditional canon, like canon. The song Canon in
Yeah.
B.
Canon Rock.
Yeah, Canon Rock. That
Fun,
was,
fun too.
yeah, that's the one. And I looked at that and my jaws dropped, man. I was like, that's what you can do on the guitar, because I had no idea. I thought all you can do was like strum the strings, and then you can like.
This is the guy. Is that him? Fun too?
Nope.
That's not him?
That's not him.
Oh, okay. Get off of here, Fun too. That's his name. He says Natty Fun too.
You should say Canon
Rock.
Fun 2. Nope.
That's not it.
Nope.
What the heck? Oh, this is a YouTube fail. Anyway, he inspired you.
He inspired me. He showed me what the possibilities of like playing guitar are, like what the real extent is. Because I had no idea you could do that on the guitar.
This is it. That's it.
That is it.
This is it. Oh, ads. You know, I thought we were over this, but YouTube found a way to... All right, this is the one. This is Sachin's inspiration for...
That is it.
Finally picking up the guitar.
I would have... How many ever views that video has? I would have seen like this video 500 times.
So this is 120,000 views.
Okay, 500 of those would probably be mine.
Let's just listen to a couple minutes of your... Oh, he's playing that on the guitar.
Yeah, sounds like a violin, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's almost got like a metal sound to it, like a Metallica.
He's gonna pick it up right now.
Oh yeah. So little Sachin's sitting in India, just rocking out to this thing. He's going for it.
Oh yeah.
So you listen to this and you're like, I don't know, Jack.
I have, yeah. I was like, I have not even scratched the surface.
Oh yeah, get it, Fontu. All right, that's good.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fun. Fun too.
Fun, yeah. So I was obsessed with the guitar at that time.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I've got it. And then I tried doing all of that on an old beat up acoustic guitar.
Right.
And it sounded like, sounded really bad.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I asked my parents, like my dad, my mom, hey, can I get an electric guitar?
Upgrade.
And they were like, nope. You sound pretty bad on the acoustic. Let's wait a few more years.
Oh, good luck, kid.
Yeah, I was like 17 or 18 at that time, right?
Okay. Right.
And then I was just like, I practiced so hard.
Wow.
Man,
that's what it takes.
So hard. And then I got it. I got the electric guitar when I was 19. And then again, that's when the real practice starts, right? Because you've got to master that song.
Yeah.
That's what success meant.
So you can play that song now.
Well, now I don't remember it, but
but you could.
Yeah, I recorded the whole, like playing the whole song.
Oh,
I even played it at college for one of the instrumental competitions.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like there were judges and stuff. And,
fun too.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Wow.
So yeah, that guy was my inspiration to start playing this electric guitar.
I wonder if he even knows.
Probably doesn't.
How many people he inspired? Probably one.
That you know what? That video was actually super famous at that time.
Fun too.
Yeah. I mean, like guitar players were talking about that video, that specific video on like blogs and forums and.
Wow.
Because that's like his original, like it's not his original composition, but there was another guy called Jerry C, who like composed the rock version of Canon, and it just picked up. And this guy came and did a cover of it, which sounded even better than the original.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, so...
That is fun.
So I still remember at that time, if you type in guitar on YouTube, on the search bar, and click search, that would be the first result.
Wow.
It's probably changed now, but it was definitely the first result.
Yeah, it was number 6. When I put it, and I even spelled it wrong.
Well, you spelled like Fun 2 and Canon and all of that.
No.
I'm talking about guitar.
I just put Fun 2 guitar.
Oh, okay.
And that's number 6. Yeah.
There you go.
That's crazy.
Still up there.
I've always been fascinated by people who like are at whatever extreme skill level and all different kinds of things. Like I that's kind of why I wanted to learn guitar. It seems so cool because you go to a campfire, someone has a guitar, they're playing the guitar, they sing it. It's just you can bring it anywhere, you can do all these things anyway. But there's this certain level of like expertise with things that just blows me away.
Yeah,
I love watching guys like that, or you see those the guys that like in Vegas, they'll get the buckets and they'll get a pair of drumsticks and they'll be sitting there just playing like the most epic like drum line solo you've ever heard, and like this guy's on a street corner on Vegas Boulevard. Like, just blows me away. Yeah,
like you've seen videos on YouTube of like homeless people playing piano like this.
Yeah,
Like they've been doing that the whole life.
I love the ones where like professional concert pianists will just like put on normal clothes and go to a mall, and sit down at the piano and just start playing this thing, and people walking by are looking at them like, what is going on?
Yeah.
They stop traffic and
Yeah.
yeah, no one's they still don't know who they are, but who knows piano concert pianist? I don't know. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're making me want to try to pick that thing up again.
Yeah, it's right there.
It is right there, and I sit right there or there all the time, and I look at it, and I'm like, there's that guitar again. You know what it is? Is because when I do something, I go, all the way.
Yeah.
Like here we are. We're in a recording studio in my front room, right?
Yeah.
So there's no halfway, and I'm just like, I don't think I could do the whole like hours and hours thing.
Yeah.
So someday.
I mean, it's it does take a lot of time, like dedication and commitment and all of that. Like with anything else in life, right? Like it does take, but then you get to a point and you're like you look back and you don't think that those are hours wasted. You feel like it was totally worth it.
So what do you play now?
So my taste has kind of drifted back and forth. So when I started playing, so that guy was one of my inspirations, and then moving forward was like Joe Satriani and Steve Vai.
Oh yeah.
These guys like playing instrumental solos, like or instrumental guitar pieces, no lyrics, no song, just guitar stuff. I was super inspired by that, and that carried me along for another I would say 5-6 years till I moved here to the US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. You're listening to Joe Satriani over there. Like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. They're always with you, always with me.
Yeah.
There's one song that I listened to that 100 times. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
That's,
such a masterpiece. Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then, after I moved here, though, I just totally put the guitar down, never picked it up for a good 2 years.
What happened? You just got busy?
Yeah, I was doing
welcome to America.
Right? Bunch of things hit me at the same time, like being homesick, being like cultural shock, moving into a completely different place.
Yeah.
Just being by myself, working hard on school, school-related stuff, and then like just trying to figure out who am I, right? Yeah. Like, am I trying to be like a professional guitar player? No, I've come here for a completely different reason.
Yeah.
So I had to like. So and another thing is like financial reasons, right? Like I had no money to buy an amplifier because I brought my electric guitar.
Yeah, you gotta plug it into something.
My closest friend when I was in India, pretty much.
Yeah. Because
I spent hours and hours, thousands of hours with that guitar.
Wow.
You got to plug it into something, otherwise it doesn't sound like anything.
Yeah.
So I couldn't I couldn't afford even the cheapest amplifier. So I was like, what am I gonna do? And it was like, what am I gonna do when there's no one else that's gonna play like drums or other instruments?
Yeah.
When you're an electric guitar player, it's like you've got to be in a band, like. And I didn't know that many acoustic guitar songs at that time. I was just playing like electric guitar songs the whole time, whole 7 or 8 years that I. After I got my first electric guitar for my 19th birthday.
Right.
So, yeah, I just never picked it up. It was just sitting there, just like how this guy is sitting there for 2 years. Yeah.
I'm sorry, guitar. We'll play. Don't tell Steven.
He wanted his guitar back.
He gave me that guitar. He says, "Oh, I never played it." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna learn." Sorry, buddy. You want it back? No, you can't have it. No. So what got you back into guitar then? A couple years in,
worship stuff. At that time, I had I had started going to a church, which had like some basic worship infrastructure, like band, like type of a small band forming at that time. It was like a church that was just being planted.
Right.
There was like one acoustic guitar player, and he used to sing, and then there was like a piano player, and there was like a cajon player, and they brought me in, and I was like playing all these power chords. I didn't even know how to play. I didn't even know how to play worship music.
I love it.
So I was playing these power chords, and the people were like,
What?
All
distorted.
all distorted. Like I cranked up the distortion.
I love it.
At that time, I had afforded to buy this little tiny solid state amp that sounded really bad.
Just distorted anyway.
Totally. It was a Marshall too. It's like
okay.
Super distorted, crunchy sounding amp, which just didn't sit well with the rest of the mix.
Oh my gosh, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
They're all singing "Praise You, Jesus." You're like kicking stuff over. I love it. Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, that was the starting point of all of getting back into guitar.
I think your mic went out. What happened there?
Oh, really?
Yeah. What do we got going on? Hang on.
Do you know when it went out?
Okay. We're good.
We back?
We're good.
Okay.
We're back.
I can hear myself now.
That was weird.
Do you know when it went out?
We were yelling. It got mad. we distorted. We got crunchy. We're back.
Okay.
Wow, that must have been fun to see. I would have loved to have seen that. You're just all confused. Did you realize you were like...
Yeah, and I didn't know what else to play because I've never played like worship music before.
That's funny.
And they were like, "Oh, does anyone know how to play guitar? If anyone knows, come on in. You're part of the worship team," kind of a deal.
That's funny.
And this was just like 4 and a half years back, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's not far.
Not far at all. I had the skills, but I didn't know how to implement it.
Right. Right.
And also I hadn't played in front of a lot of people, so it was a little bit nerve-wracking. And I hadn't played part of a band, which was also nerve-wracking because, when...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want people looking over at you like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an awkward feeling.
How do you sit in a mix? Like, what's the idea of sitting in, it's
a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now you play... on Sundays at Resonate fairly often, right? You're kind of in the rotation.
Yeah.
You played every week for a while.
Yeah, during By Grace series, I played every single week for 6 weeks straight.
Right on. And then you play...
Almost every week for that series, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and then you play on the Friday night Young Adult Prime.
Sometimes, yeah. I'm kind of trying to get away from that, like actually playing... over there because there's a lot of other people too, so I want to kind of get them motivated and give them more opportunity to step up and kind of give their talents.
That's very undiva like of you. Good job. Share the spotlight. Yeah. Well, so let me rewind the story. That was a good guitar conversation. I'm glad we went there.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to India.
Right.
I want to hear more about so you lived there until you were like 20 something?
22 or something like that.
So what was the first 22 years like? Give me the helicopter version of like growing up in India. What city were you born? Like what part of? Because India is huge,
I was
right?
in Chennai the whole time.
Chennai. That's in southern
in Tamil
India.
Nadu. Yeah.
Okay.
Tamil Nadu, Chennai. Pretty much the whole time I was there. Like we moved houses a lot.
Okay.
It's something I remember, but it was all within the city, not so much outside.
And you moved around because of mom's job teaching, or what was that?
Yeah, moms and dads, because my dad used to work in the city and my mom used to work in a college in Thambram and was kind of far away. My brother was born at that time. So my mom had to be close to work so that she can go back and forth. And my dad did all of the traveling at that time.
What did he do?
He was so. Initially, he was doing his own business, which was marketing and selling reconditioned photocopiers, like Xerox machines.
Oh, okay.
So that's what he was doing. I think like for a long time, and then he would switch jobs quite often as well. If he got a job, he would get a job in like as like a branch manager or something like that, because he had the qualification for that. And then he would sometimes like leave that job and go back into business.
Right.
And sometimes just switch between like switch from company to company. So he kind of switched a lot. So we had to kind of move.
Moving. Yeah.
We had to move, and we had to like. There was a lot of stuff going on back then.
Yeah.
And my mom was like totally opposite. She stayed in like one job pretty much the entire time. Yeah. So different personalities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad. And
Yeah. My dad gets frustrated with a lot of stuff really quickly, so he would like, get upset with something, and then he would just be like, "All right, that's the last day I'm going to be working at that place."
Rage quit.
Rage quit.
I'm done. Throwing copiers around. And your brother's younger than you?
Yeah, he's.
How old?
So I have a brother who just turned 20. He was like born in 98, and I have a sister who's born in 2004. So so much. Yeah,
that's a wide spread.
Yeah, she's still really young. She just
teenager.
Yeah,
wow.
Teenager.
And so the rest of your family's still in India?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My parents and my grandma, both my grandmas, both sides, and then my siblings.
So, okay, my cultural knowledge of India is very limited.
Yeah.
So, but the folks that I've talked to talk about like the caste system that is there, the poverty versus riches kind of thing that's going on there. What go through that a little bit. Like, what were you in a certain caste? Like, is that still a thing where you were, or were you kind of different scenario?
Honestly, I didn't really get impacted by that a lot. Okay. So I never dug into that to find out what exactly was behind the whole thing. Okay. So I'm kind of naive about the whole thing, the caste system. But I know what caste I belong to and what standing we have. Okay. So based on the caste, basically you get like seats allocated for like education and things like that in colleges. Okay. So a lot of people, found that to be unfair. But since we were kind of right in the middle, it was never like too unfair or too easy either.
How do you get in the middle? Like who decides?
That's based on like what, like your tree of, where you trace back.
Oh, it's a lineage, like a family.
It's a lineage, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Gosh.
Nobody can decide like if they want to switch castes or.
So if you want to move up, you can't. You want to move down, it's like fixed.
Yeah, like your birth certificate comes with your caste already in it.
Who came up with that?
I don't know. Like
it's been that way for a while, right?
It was based on profession,
right?
When it was a long time back, but this whole education system and all of that, I think, was after the British people left, that they found that some castes, some people were, just stuck in their level, and they couldn't move up. And then they started giving the higher caste people slightly lower opportunities than the lower caste people.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Huh. But the people who were born in a recent time, they just felt the impact of it. They never understood they only, as a fact, they knew that that they were part of a higher caste, but they never understood
Right.
what's the fairness in it. So they were
Interesting.
kind of mad at the whole thing.
That is weird.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about it, though, I mean, most modern societies sort of have a similar thing. You know, it's an unspoken barrier. Like, you know, in America, if you're born to a family that has tons of money, right? Okay,
Yeah.
you're going to go to the private school. You know, you're going to have the tutors. You're going to have, you know, the private guitar lessons and whatever gymnastics coaching. And, you know, you'll have connections to whatever college your parents, you know, so there's a certain, you know, ceiling to things. And then, you know, if you're in the middle class, like you might have some, like it's kind of not great, but not horrible. Like, you know, I was never hungry, right? But going to Harvard would probably not happen.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. So, but I think the cool thing about this country is that there is still that chance,
Yeah.
right? There's no one telling you like, oh, you can't. They're just telling you it's going to be hard.
It's gonna be hard. Yeah.
But you know, you can do it. There's tons of stories of guys that invent some weird crap in their garage and now they're
Right.
billionaires, and you know that upward mobility is possible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say as possible as it used to be,
Yeah.
but it's still there. You
Yeah.
know, you hear about the Steve Jobs type of guys, and
Right.
Zuckerberg, and you know these dudes that
Yeah.
they just came up with a little software.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and now they're richer than they even know, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So what was the spiritual status of your childhood over there?
I mean, I was born and raised in a Christian home, for sure.
Now, that's
but
not typical, is it?
No, it's not typical. But there are a lot of Christian people in southern part of India.
Okay.
Lots of churches. The only problem with the Indian churches is that it's way too legalistic, and they've somehow changed the whole system to kind of work towards salvation. So it's I mean, they're falsely representing what the actual gospel is. So I mean, I would say that like a majority of churches in India still fall into that, because the whole society around us is primarily Hinduism, right?
Yeah.
Which has like a lot of rituals and a lot of things ingrained into the whole system. So when we come out of it, we still have a lot of baggage, which we don't even realize that we have, and we don't know what's outside of that sometimes.
Yeah. It kind of makes sense.
Kind of does.
I think everybody is sort of like tends to lean that way, whatever their background.
It's a natural
is, right?
thing, I think.
Yeah. What do I got to do? That's what you want to know.
Yeah.
How do I make God happy? Like that. Yeah. Coming from the Hindu culture, it's totally very, very rigid. Like, here's the list of things,
Right.
right, that I have to do.
Because I remember as a kid, like walking into the church that we were attending, we were members in, like 10 minutes late, and the pastor from the pulpit was like,
"Oh no,
how can you come late?" What that kind of thing, which was like, and everyone would turn and look at us, and I was like just so mad, and I was like, do I really have to go to church? So Sunday mornings when I was a kid, I was like,
oh yeah,
it's Sunday, got to wake up and go to church, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was the same way. I loved Sunday afternoons because that was the longest time before I had to go back to church again. It's like, yes, it's over. I don't know what that guy was talking about.
Yeah.
My feet hurt. And I went to the old, the Catholic style, Catholics are great, whatever, but
was it long?
Bored stiff. It was always too long.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it was, but it was too long.
Yeah.
Half an hour was too long.
Yeah.
And
sermons, I remember sermons being 45-50 minutes long in India.
Just the sermon.
Just the sermons. And they would talk about the same thing over and over again. It was not like fun and creatively crafted sermons either.
They didn't talk about steak and all that every week.
Didn't even bring that up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So what was did they have like Sunday school for you, or like how did that lay out for you?
Yeah, there was Sunday school,
Okay.
which I would go sometimes, but most of the times I would just stick around with my parents and be like, hey, let me just hang out with you. I don't want to go and, hang out with these people and like memorize Bible verses and, I was like, okay, it's going to be long. Might as well just sit and,
Yeah.
draw in a piece of paper or whatever, and rather than learn. It was all Bible, like memory verses, Bible verses. Just learn them and repeat them
Yeah.
without looking, and it was just
Exciting.
yeah,
didn't-
super exciting.
They didn't play any games or videos or.
Nothing like that.
No.
No, there was no worship. No, not. Yeah, it was just super boring. Start with a prayer, go into the meat of it, just
Super
dive.
boring. So there's kids on Sundays a lot of times that, they'll come to me, or I hear from their parents that they say, "Oh, it's so boring. I don't want to go." Ew.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell these kids, like, listen, this can get way worse. Okay? You'll be thanking me. Oh, darn. You have to play tug of war today. Shoot. The little Chuck E. Cheese store is over here. We watch videos. We got a live band that plays cool songs, and get out of here. You need to go to mass down the street for a few years. So you appreciate what I'm doing here.
I'll check out a Sunday school back in India in 1995.
Yeah, let's try that. Yeah, you poke your eyes out. You get out of that thing. You just have something to do.
Yeah,
But you survived.
I did, barely did.
What would you say your relationship was with the gospel at that point?
Man, I didn't even know what the gospel was.
Yeah.
I was just like, what do I have to do?
Yeah.
Have I done okay, I've memorized these verses from the Bible,
Right.
and I have said it back to them, and I didn't get the words mixed up, so I did a pretty good job. I'm talking about when I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
When I was this was earlier. And they had vacation Bible school during summer holidays,
Okay.
and that was 3 hours long of the same stuff.
So you do that, and then on Sunday again.
And this was every day for 10 days or something like that. We had a little bit of activities, but most of it was just memorizing chapters and repeating or saying it back to the teacher.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't think there was any preparation or anything. There was barely any preparation. Just that was kind of their responsibility to do it, and they probably were the teachers themselves were oh, I've got to do this.
Yeah,
I don't know what they
do it.
I don't know what was going on.
Oh, that's so sad.
But I was just bored out of my mind and didn't want to participate in any of that. But I would go and just talk to God, even when I was a kid, I would just go to a corner and say, hey, I'm gonna pray, and then that kind of stuff. But I just hated this concept of going to a structured church event where sermon's gonna be 50 minutes long. There's no way out. Yeah, I'd love to have a sermon which is 15 minutes long,
Right.
and then bail out when when I'm done with what I want to do,
Yeah.
or when I stop feeling, But you're kind of stuck till the end of it.
Yeah, if you get up, you're gonna get yelled at.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Where are you going? You going back early?
Yeah. Oh man. I saw a video of I don't know where this was, but this pastor was preaching, and he stops in the middle of it. It's a big church, one of these 800,000 seat auditoriums, and he stops, and he looks at this one guy and he says, "Wake up!"
Oh.
And he walks over to him. Man, I've known you since you were a baby. How dare you sleep while I'm preaching. You're lucky to be listening to what I have to say today because I am somebody. He just went on this big rant and everyone's sitting around like, oh, God.
Oh, from the pulpit?
Yeah.
Gosh.
In the middle of his sermon. Yeah.
Wonder if that guy ever went back.
I don't know. Probably. You don't want to get yelled at again.
Yeah.
Man, so did you stick with that all the way till you were 20-something? Or what? How did that progress for you? Because what I find is that there's a certain point when you're like a teenager or whatever, when you're kind of like,
yeah,
I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Stop telling me what to do.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't like the whole thing, but I would never like rebel against my parents, or I wouldn't be like, oh, I don't want to go, I'm staying home, or anything like that. I would just go and just deal with it and just be like, and then
inside.
Come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I would want to please my parents at least. At least for that, I would go.
Right. Are they still at the same church? Or where are they at now?
No, they're going to a completely different place now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still the same style, or?
There are certain aspects of it that will never go away.
Yeah.
But I think the place that they're going to, especially the place that my brother is going to, he says it's a lot different, and they preach the gospel, and but just it's a little bit different. I've listened to some of their sermons online on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's it's they do talk about the gospel, but most of it is just what do you have to do kind of a thing. It's I'm like, all right, man.
Yeah.
So I have like conversations with my brother and with my mom and all of that. From that I know that they're Christian, but based on the sermons that they're listening to, I wouldn't be able to guess,
Right.
Because it's like 90% of it is like what do you have to do, and then 10%, oh, by the way, Jesus died for you, so everything is covered, and kind of a thing. So it kind of, I mean, I don't think they can totally separate like from that culture. I think it'll be even harder to like separate that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But crazy.
We struggle with that here.
Yeah.
I mean,
and there are different struggles here too, but
Yeah.
it's like I feel like in different cultures there's different struggles with the gospel.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we've been having a hard time finding children's ministry curriculum that's really gospel centered, because most of the if you look at the Bible stories like Noah, or we're looking at David and Goliath, right? And there'll be some beautiful things produced where they have this great video and it's all cartoony thing, and there's David, there's Goliath and the stones, and they tell the story great. And a lot of times the main points that they're landing on are be like David, be brave, be strong, be faithful. See, you can do it too, because David did it, and it's like this motivating rah-rah thing. I'm like, darn it.
Almost portraying David as like a superhero.
Yeah. Yeah, you can be like him too. You just try hard enough, just have enough faith. You can conquer giants. And I'm like, shoot.
Yeah.
Like, that's not it.
Yeah.
That's not it. Like, the message is that Goliath was big and bad, but God used David to beat him. Well, guess what else is big and bad?
Yeah.
Sin. Hell.
Right.
The punishment for sin. That's way bigger, way badder than Goliath. But God sent a champion to defeat it for you. And now we get to revel in the victory just like David did. See, that this is... Yeah. I don't claim to have like some corner on the gospel, right?
Yeah.
But the last thing I want is for our kids to go home thinking that. Like, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that, because, I don't know, Jesus is great.
Yeah.
Like, dang it. No, that's not it. Yeah.
You know what? That's exactly the way that I was the stuff that I experienced in India. Like, it was portrayed the same way. that you just mentioned right now.
Yeah.
I read a book a few years back called Jesus Unmasked by this guy called Todd Friel.
Yeah. I've heard of that.
So good.
It's the second time I've heard that in like 2 weeks.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I sent that book to my brother. When he came here, I sent it with him, and he was like, I read it. It was like a completely different...
Oh, you told me about that.
Oh,
last time I talked to you. That was you. Okay. Yeah. Now I'm remembering.
So he loved it. Because the reason is that he brings everything... He ties everything back to what Jesus did with sin. Like Noah's Ark, right? Like if you think about it, there was just one door into the Ark, and God sealed it. It wasn't Noah that sealed it. So there's one way to God, which is through Jesus, and he does all the work, not us, kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's just there in the Old Testament, like from the first page to the last page. So just taking it back to that and tying it back together, like really provides an amazing understanding of the gospel. Yeah. And my brother really felt that. So I was like, yes.
That's awesome. Yeah. How old is he? He's only 20.
He's just turned 20.
That's great.
Yeah. 98.
And he's in India still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow. So at what point would you say you got that? Like when did you make the switch from the kind of works, what do I have to do, to saved by grace, not by works? Like how did that come about?
Well, that's the long story, right?
Let's go there.
Okay,
let's
go there.
This is the Great Stories podcast. That's the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing that happened in my life, which made me, change my whole perspective is, so I was just, when I came here, I was just like, hanging out, doing the stuff that they sent me over to do, like going to school.
What brought you here? Just real quick, touch on that. But
I did my master's in San Jose State.
Okay.
Mechanical engineering.
Yeah. Okay.
So after I finished my undergrad, I came over here. So I had laid the foundation over there back in India. Like I did my GRE, my TOEFL.
Okay.
Submitted the transcripts. Applied to a bunch of different universities here in the US.
Yeah.
And then I picked this one partly because my uncle lives close by. So he said that he would help me out with like stuff and just figuring out life in the US just in general.
Yeah. He couldn't buy you a guitar amp while you're over here? What's up, Uncle? Come on.
And I mean, he was going through a hard time at that time.
Okay.
My aunt was going through like a brain tumor, and she was just struggling like with surgery after surgery, and
yikes.
I just landed at like the worst place.
Okay.
The worst time.
He's off the hook then.
Yeah.
That's fine.
He he was like, he was super nice even at that time, like to like get me onboarded into the whole system. And there have been other times when it's been a struggle like being with him, but we'll get to that a little bit later because that's a little bit down the road. But going back to where we started was what changed my heart, right?
Yeah.
So when I came over here, like I said, I was just hanging out, doing my stuff, trying to pass my classes, that kind of stuff, right? I was not really thinking about God or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I used to go to my uncle's house weekends, and I was just going to the church that he went to, because I didn't know any other church. I didn't know anything at all when I came here. I was, I didn't have a car. I didn't know how to drive.
Yeah, driving in India is not really a great idea. That's from what I've heard. Anyway.
Right. The skill doesn't transfer over because you're driving from the other side of the car, and like it's keep left. You're driving on the left side of the road. So, so I was just like totally dependent on him for like church related stuff on Sundays.
Right.
Didn't want to miss church either, because my parents had like taken me to church every single week. That had become like a habit pretty much.
Right.
by the time I came here. My uncle was going to a Indian church, like an Indian community, and again the problem with that was, it was like a social club. Wasn't like a church at all. Like, yeah, there was a sermon. Yeah, they were talking about God, but what is everyone's priority? Like getting settled here, following the American dream.
Right.
What's the house you can buy? Like, it was just the conversations were all about that.
Yeah.
Like after the sermon, you get out of the church and you're like pretty much just talking about all of that stuff. Nobody's like talking about the gospel. Everybody's talking about how they've been going to church like their entire life. Like if you'd ask them what makes you a Christian, they would say, hey, I go to church like every single week, and
you check it off.
Yeah, you check it off. I've been a good person and stuff like that. So I didn't feel, I mean, I was like, okay, because it doesn't like motivate you in any way, that kind of attitude. And I didn't know, I had no idea about the spiritual climate here in the US.
Yeah.
I thought there was Christianity, and then there's Catholicism, and then there is like, that's pretty much it for Christianity.
Right.
There's so many other things going on, crazy stuff going on here.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I was just hanging out in San Jose State campus, and two of these missionaries approached me. And I was like, okay, great. And like I said, I knew Christianity and then Catholicism and nothing outside of that circle. So it turns out they were like from the LDS church, like Mormon missionaries.
Okay. The guys wearing the white button-down shirts, riding bikes. And,
exactly.
Yeah, that's them.
Yeah. So I kind of got, because they were like super nice, and, they were like, they had activities going on. They were super nice. So I kind of got hooked into that for a while. So I was just like hanging out with them, so I was like pretty much started going to that church. I told my uncle, hey, I don't feel, like I want to travel all the way to your house. I'm in downtown San Jose. I found a different church.
Yeah.
I was just going there. And that kind of felt, there was a lot of legalistic stuff over there, right? Like, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. So I was like, I'm in a safe place now. Right. I have total control of my spirituality.
Yeah, you know that jam. For sure.
I know that jam. I'm all about that jam. So I was like, okay, perfect. And the activities that they had was just like spectacular as well, like just having fun. Wednesday evenings they had like food, and at that time when I was like going to school, never really thought about religion or spirituality, never really read the Bible with intention of what people were trying to portray and things like that. Didn't really understand the gospel.
Right.
So I was hanging out with those folks for like over a year and a half. So it was a long time. Made a lot of friends. I still have a lot of friends. I have brought a few of them over to Resonate, actually. I've been sharing ever since I got out of that. I've been like sharing the gospel with these folks who I've made friends with, right?
You have access, right?
Yeah, I have access into that. Like, and we have like, sometimes we have like really deep conversations. And I used to like play pool with them. Like, I joined like a pool playing league.
Really?
Yeah. Played for a long time. So basically, yeah, I mean, it was like, there was that legalistic thing that I had taken on yet again. I had, got out of one place and put myself in a very similar situation again, and, felt like home. That was kind of like home for me again. I was like, yes, great, perfect. And that is when this whole what is legalism is what hit me. Like, what really is legalism? Because if you go there, if you spend some time with them, you'll know really quickly what you have to do. I mean, it's super easy to figure that out.
Right.
And at that time, my uncle was also like super strict. He used to like ask me to like perfectly plan out my life, perfectly plan out my day. You've got to get a job like at this time, this kind of a salary, this type of profession. You need to be sending this much of money into your student loan. So that was like scary. That was again legalistic.
Right. Yeah, even in that,
wow. Right? So I was totally surrounded by legalism in all places. And then like a year and a half later, I came to a point. This was even before I understood the gospel. I was like, I'm like done.
2015, somewhere around. How?
This was.
When is this?
I would say 2014, maybe 2014 or 2000. Yeah, okay. I would say 2014.
Right.
Or 2000.
Ish.
2014.
Okay.
Yeah. Around I think like springtime 2014 maybe.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm done, man, because I have no way of keeping that system, living that kind of a life. There's no way, because I tried and then I failed. Then I would try and then I would fail. And the next time when I tried, I would be like, okay, I got it this time. And guess what? I failed. Over and over again, I was like, okay, I think, you know what, this is not really working out, because what's the point of doing something and failing and over again, because there's no hope in it. Like, what's the hope behind that?
Yeah. You're just going to get really good at it someday, right? Yeah. You'll figure this out.
I mean, you're going to get good at it, or you're going to just get like demotivated because you've failed so many times, and then you're going to be like totally pissed off about life in general. And hopeless at the same time. So I was like, there's no hope, you know. And then I stopped going to that church for a while, and I was like, I really need to learn. Like, I was seeking truth at that time. I was like, what am I believing? Really, what am I believing? Do I stick with the belief system, or do I just abandon the whole thing?
Right.
Do I stick with this belief system, or do I go back to what my parents taught me?
Right.
But I mean, God had a completely different plan for me. It seemed like, you know, I was like reading. You know, I was just reading the Bible one day when I was commuting from home to. I actually moved into my uncle's house at that time.
Okay.
Because my aunt had just passed away. And I was like, okay. And I just picked up a New Testament Bible out of my bag for some reason. Or maybe it was just out of doing it habitually in India, just reading it just for the sake of it. I just opened it up and I started reading, and it was Romans. I mean, what better book could
it's a good spot to start.
Yeah, what better book would talk about, like, you know, being legalistic, right? Like, and kind of painting a picture which is completely contrary to that, and explaining what the gospel is and what it's not, right? Man, I gotta tell you, I was like crying in that bus. I was like, it was like I was reading the Bible for like the 1,000th time.
Yeah.
And it seemed like I was reading it for the first time, because I had like it was almost like I had fresh pair of eyes.
On a bus.
Yeah, on a bus.
Of all
like
places,
a VTA
right?
bus. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, this is the craziest part, right?
Yeah.
I take my eyes off the Bible, and I look out in this huge blue banner which says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free." I was like, okay.
Where was that?
In some random place there's a huge blue banner. I mean, who puts that kind of stuff up?
Around here?
Yeah.
What?
In San Jose.
What? That must have been the only one ever, just for you.
Only one ever, just for me, right?
Wow.
It was there for like a day and then went away. Kind of a deal.
Someone caught it on fire.
Right. It was I mean, I'm not making this stuff up, man. This is like, you know, just I feel like God had to just nail that thing in, and He did at that point in my life, because everything came to a conclusion. It was almost like, you know, you watch 22 movies and then you watch Avengers Endgame, and it's like, it's like, yes, right?
get it now.
Get it now.
I just saw that 2 nights ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, okay, because there was this legalistic society that I was raised in,
Yeah.
legalistic uncle and legalistic belief system, which was this this church that I had gotten myself entangled into, and it was like break away from everything, all at once.
Yeah.
And it felt like, man, it felt like the entire world's weight was like removed from my shoulders. I was like, okay, wow, this is what Paul's talking about. And this is exactly what these people have not shared with me in the 4 years of my life.
Yeah.
How did that happen? You know?
How did I miss this?
How did I miss that? It was all about do this and do that. Wait, he's not talking about that. He's talking about the things I want to do, I'm not able to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's me.
Yeah, what
That's
a wretched man I
What?
am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that's me. And then he's talking about Jesus like saving him from that. And I'm like, oh, wait a second. Let me go back to that.
Yeah.
And then at that time, my uncle also had like made a transition from a church to another church because of the exact same problem, right? Like the one of the members who was just becoming a pastor in that church felt that system was legalistic. And he was like, this is not the gospel. The first day he went on the pulpit, he was like, you guys, if you don't stop having the social club and actually believe in what the gospel is, you guys are all going to hell. Yeah, like everyone was like, oh, what did he just say?
Can he do that?
He was like one of those, early age revival pastors, right? He went up to the pulpit and they kicked him out of the church.
Yeah.
Because it was like, we don't want to hear bad things. We want to hear
That's not what
good
we're
stuff.
here for.
Yeah.
We're here to make ourselves feel better about it. Yeah,
right?
I don't want to hear challenged.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
So this pastor, he went out of the of that church and he started his own church at that time.
Okay.
So he discipled me for a long time. He was like, kind of like, told me about the whole gospel.
Yeah.
And then I had also went back and read books and
Right.
and
You had to
increase my knowledge.
You had you had to clean up.
Clean up the mess and build up the right theology, right? Because that's important. Because you don't want those the old stuff to clutter your thinking and your perspective and all of that.
Would you say that it was on that bus when you got saved?
Oh, absolutely.
Would you identify that moment as
absolutely? Yeah. Because that was the time when I knew for a fact that it was not up to me at all. It was up to Jesus.
And he already did it.
Yeah, he already did it.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like, and I am, and this Paul, who is like writing like the majority of the New Testament, himself says he's not able to do this legalistic system.
Right.
I mean, who am I to try?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I failed. Great. Awesome.
This dude wrote half the Bible and he's complaining about it. So.
Yeah. So I didn't feel bad about feel hopeless, I would say.
Yeah.
That was the first time I was like, okay, wow, this is what, and then, I went back and started reading from from John, because John kind of talks about who Jesus is.
Right.
Because I was also fed some bad stuff in that other church about who Jesus was.
Right.
Because I had to clean up all of that stuff.
Yeah.
That mess.
What were some of those?
Some of those claims were like, Jesus is like your older brother who was like equal. He was just one of God's kids, and he just volunteered to come and save. Do this whole like dying on the cross thing. And him and Satan are brothers, that kind of stuff. Like, one of the brothers, it's like...
He's the evil twin.
Thor was the good guy and Loki was the bad guy kind of thing. Where did they get this stuff from? Right? And then that's when I read John and I was like, oh my gosh, Jesus is not what they've been telling me. It's like, he is God who came in flesh, you know. There was like a huge shift in what I believed about Jesus was. And, you know, when your reverence for Jesus goes up, like automatically you start trusting in him more, because you know he's all powerful.
Yeah.
He's more powerful than who you thought he was. So yeah, that was like the crazy moment where that happened, like that shift happened.
Yeah.
Like, to answer your question, like, you know, when did all of that happen, right? That's when all went down.
So what happened from there? Did you so you're going to the new church that the pastor that got kicked out started. Okay, where's that? Is that still around, or where?
It's still around. It's they started in Milpitas and now they've moved to San Jose.
Okay.
The guy, that's the church where I started playing guitar, actually.
Okay.
When they first started, they were like, "Oh, can we find a guitar player who's here, who can play the guitar?" And I was like, I can play the guitar. And then when I played the acoustic guitar, it was totally fine. When I picked up the electric guitar, it was like
turned into Metallica.
It turned into Metallica,
Yeah.
like worship songs, like hymns turned into Metallica songs.
Oh,
That's
man.
what I did.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, you know they're coming back to the Bay.
I heard about it.
They're doing another concert with the symphony.
Yeah, yesterday at MCA I heard about it, actually.
Are you a fan? Do you follow them at all?
Metallica?
Yeah.
There are some songs that I'm fan. You know, I really like. Like band in general, they're a little too heavy for me.
Yeah.
I kind of like the little bit like, you know, simmered down stuff.
Their mid 2000s stuff was good.
Right.
It's kind of lower key, not so heavy.
Right.
Yeah. Death Magnet.
I used to play Master of Puppets.
Okay.
That kind of, you know, when I started off.
I looked at going to that their concert there. It's one night with the San Francisco Symphony. The cheapest ticket's $400.
Right.
Ridiculous.
I'll
just Blu-ray it. Stream it later. I got these speakers here. We're good.
Yeah. You get a better view too.
Yeah. So how long are we at that church then? Because you're not there now.
Yeah.
So when did you kind of transition, or what led that?
I was there for 2 years.
Okay.
I think, you know, I never had any problem with the theology, or I didn't have a problem because this guy had done his research and he was like preaching the good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, always driving it back to Jesus and pointing to Jesus, that kind of stuff. The reason I left is because the community is important for, you know, building one another in faith.
Yeah.
Like doing MCs or like Bible studies or whatnot.
Yeah.
And that was what was missing. So what he had done was, when he started the church, it was all personal connections that he had made with members. So one person making connections with 100 different people, and a church of 100 people started.
You get a little thin beyond that. Yeah.
You know, I mean, with Resonate, you see how there's an MC leader who branches out, and then there's another MC leader who branches out, and they're all tied back, and then everyone is tied back to the sermon series and that sort of a stuff.
Right.
When just one pastor has all of these connections and people don't gel well with one another, it can get a little bit, it can get tricky when the size of the church grows. And also I felt like some certain members had that legalistic thing going on, like baggage from the past, and I was like, okay, I cannot, like, the past is great, but if people over here around me haven't got it completely yet, then, you know, I wouldn't be able to relate with them totally outside of Sunday's church, you know. So I was kind of looking to have people around me who we can like help one another and, like, you know, grow spiritually, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I felt like there was, like, I was stuck in some kind of there was like a ceiling where I could just not get closer to God, kind of.
I know what you're talking about.
Stagnant spirituality.
Yeah. I went through a similar time.
Yeah.
We're just like, gosh, I feel like there's, you know that you're missing something.
Yeah.
It's hard to figure out exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You're just like, gosh, I don't know. I feel like I have to go.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't really want to.
Yeah.
I don't think I have to.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you're like a young Christian, when you just, came to faith, there's so much fire within you that just trumps over all of the other, like certain aspects that you're just on fire, right? You don't care about like whether because you have that fire that carries you through the week. And you're just like super passionate about like spending time with God, spending and it kind of dies down, I feel like sometimes, and you need like a group to kind of motivate one another, and because sometimes we go through hard times and someone else is going through like closeness with God, and you kind of need to hear that from someone else, and God uses someone else to like say things to you at the right time and the right place. And when you don't have that kind of a thing, then it kind of breaks down.
Well, and that's the thing. If you're, the chances are, if you're not doing well, there's somebody around you who's probably doing okay.
Yeah,
and they can minister to you and talk to you and give, and then I'm gonna have a bad day, and you'll be all right.
Right.
So you minister to each other.
Exactly.
It's a community thing. Iron sharpening iron.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from there, how long have you been a resonator? A couple of years?
Over a year now.
That's it?
Yeah, it's not been. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's I came in January, so like year and 4 months, maybe 5 months. Yeah.
I guess that's about right. I feel like it was longer.
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh no, that's Lagesh.
Hey, did you plan that one out?
No, I just thought of it.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
He's the other Indian guy.
There have been some people who were like, I'm not able to tell the difference because all Indians look the same. And I was like,
that's not true.
Okay.
That's not even true. We're not penguins. Come on.
I've been called Logesh though.
Oh, I know it. Yeah. That's people. Yeah, I never wondered. I always knew. It's not Lagesh.
Okay,
before I knew who you were.
You were like,
who's that guy?
Not Logesh.
Not Lagesh. That's his name. Until I learn it. I go, okay, now I know that's Sachin. All right. So bad.
Well, at least you were able to distinguish, so that's good.
Yeah, that's why I was irritated. Like, how could you not? These are two different humans. Like, what the heck? Did you just go with it ever? You're just like, yeah, hi, how you doing? You just pretend like you know him. Whatever.
I once like awkwardly told someone, "Hey, I'm not Logesh." I think you're looking for a different person or something like that.
I wish I could have seen that. That's so funny.
Their face turned red.
Yeah.
I don't remember who it was, but
oh man,
I just remember the
to
reaction.
Be a fly on the wall. I would have loved to have seen that. I'll have to tag him in this episode so he can hear that.
Justin always does some sort of thing. Like
I know.
He tags us like opposite. He tags my face as Logesh and his face is like...
I saw the picture. One of the Resonate hashtags is never the same.
Never the same.
And he says never the same except for these two.
So funny. And he comes up with stuff so quickly. It's
I know.
Just his wit is
That's
just
pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, I've been glad to have you around.
Thanks.
I love seeing you get, plugged in with the young adults. And you're one of the leaders in that context,
Prime,
right?
yeah.
Explain that role a little bit. Like, what do you do there?
So my role is primarily to take care of worship in Prime.
Yeah.
So we have about anywhere from 30 to 60 people attending Prime any given Friday.
Right.
So we start off with worship, and we need a worship band for that. We need a worship, like a Prime worship ministry.
Yeah.
So just scheduling people, sometimes leading worship, sometimes playing the guitar for worship.
Yeah.
So trying to fill in the spots if it's vacant, But if there is someone who can fill the spot, then having them, inviting them over to fill the spot.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. And then like, scheduling worship leaders, and then kind of building a community, having these people pour into one another's lives. So we had like a event recently where Ricky came and talked about what worship is and why we worship. And then Tim talked about like what's the role of each instrument, where did they sit in the mix, that kind of a thing.
Yeah. Oh, he's good at that.
He's really good at that. Like the sonic spectrum. And then we just jammed and we just worshipped, and we played and sang like 6 or 7 different songs, and we had pizza, and just organizing events like this.
Pizza's crucial.
Pizza is
for
crucial.
any church event. You gotta
absolutely. And when you have it delivered to your location, it's even better. And if the delivery is free, it's even better.
America,
right? It's so easy to get fat here.
I know, dude. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Every time I turn around, there's a bowl of candy or an open box of something that I shouldn't have.
Right.
Ridiculous. I'm curious about what did Ricky say as far as why we worship. Like, what's the philosophy? Even for our main stage, like what kind of drives you guys theologically for that?
I mean, the Bible talks about worship a lot. It talks about singing and worshiping and playing instruments and worshiping.
Yeah.
And like Ryan said recently in the sermons, like when we were doing the By Grace series, the Israelites were brought out of Egypt not so that they can just have fun and hang out,
right,
but so that they can worship. So worship is everything, right? Like we're here, we're made to worship God, and it's just giving him the glory that he deserves.
Yeah. It's not just music.
Yeah, it's not just music. You can worship in so many different ways. But Ricky, I mean, I don't exactly remember which passage she shared, but she shared from the Old Testament, and she she was just talking about like how we can, how we should, what's the attitude behind it, how we need to like refocus, and it's not about us kind of a thing, it's about God.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes it can kind of become about you, because you're kind of standing in the front, and there's so many things going on. It's a skill-based thing where
right,
all of those things come into play. There is an audition that you need to go through to get into. So that, I mean, the sinfulness of human beings, right? That can like really play into your own head.
Right.
So it's good to be conscious about that. So I wanted the folks, prime folks, right when they're getting into it, to kind of understand what they need to be conscious about. Because I'm learning every day what I need to be conscious about, and every week, I'm like, I shouldn't think about that. I should be focusing on something else. I shouldn't focus on me. I should be focusing on what the song talks about. And oftentimes, do we even like believe most of the things that we sing?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, yeah, we do believe in the things where it says, we give glory to God and all of that, but all of the difficult stuff, right? Like when it talks about transforming human, like men and women into the image of Jesus, that's a hard process. And we sing about it all the time, like, and what's behind it, like what does God have to do to transform you to the image of Jesus, is like going through difficulties and like, molding your heart during those difficulties and all of that.
Right.
And that's not what we want, but we sing that all the time.
Yeah.
Sundays, it's like,
the songs that I have a hard time with are ones that talk about me.
Yeah.
Right. And because there's a lot of lyrics and songs that they're very grand in the claim. I give all to you.
Yeah.
Every breath I breathe for you, Lord. The verses like that, I have such a hard time singing that.
Yeah.
because truthfully, I don't.
Yeah.
Well, I'm singing this. I'm like, every breath I breathe for you, but not really. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still happy about this, but I don't actually mean what I just said. Like
Yeah.
that stuff is really hard for me. That's why I resonate most with the songs that talk about him.
Yeah.
Because I could say that, whatever condition I'm in, whatever sinful, background that I've got, I can still say, glory to you. You're great. You did this. You did that. You're amazing. I love songs that talk to him, about him all day.
Yeah.
It's the other ones I have a hard time. I kind of check out.
Yeah.
Honestly, a little bit. Like I'm just I'll lay out on this one.
Yeah.
Because
I'm kind of different in that. I'll just sing it, but then when the rubber meets the road, I'll like, oh, what? This is not supposed to happen. Why is this happening to me? That. So
yeah. We'll meet in the middle. Yeah. But I love the idea. I forget who one of our pastors, probably Ryan at some point, said that when you're worshiping, you try to just imagine that you're in prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just singing a prayer.
Yeah.
And as soon as I started actually trying to do that, it totally changed these songs. Because a lot of times, we do, from the audience's perspective, we just do like Christian karaoke.
Yeah.
A lot. And the words are on the screen, the music's playing, we just say what's there, and it sounds right. But when you actually stop and like process, like I'm praying these words to my King, and that totally changes it. That's when it's worship.
Mm-hmm.
These things are true, and I'm singing them to you. Like that takes on a much heavier weight.
Absolutely.
I almost have feelings. Once in a while.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
I won't admit to crying. But if I ever cried, it would happen then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and the things that, there are so many things that we cannot do ourselves. Like every breath we breathe, we don't do it. But those are also the part of sins that Jesus bears in our.
Yeah.
So, we say those things. Sometimes we cannot say those things because we don't believe them in our hearts. But, those are sins too that Jesus has already nailed to the cross.
Yeah. It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy
It's
stuff.
heavy. Yeah.
So what would you say your walk right now with Christ? Like, what are you learning right now? What's he teaching you?
One of the things that's really hard for me, that's always hard for me, is just that completely separating the circumstance from trusting in God. Like, I find myself like complaining about things in life. Hey, this is not going good. This is taking too long.
Right.
That kind of a stuff.
Circumstantial stuff.
Yeah. So, my kind of spiritual walk will like go up and down based on that. And this is kind of like the first time I'm actually like processing that and thinking, hey, why is this like that? So if it's like that, then what am I putting my trust in?
Yeah.
Am I putting my faith in how well my life is going, or am I putting it in Christ?
Right.
And sometimes it's like, God, if you're all powerful, why don't you take me, take this difficulty out of my life? But then again, like, I feel like God is teaching me that the relationship is not based on these transactions. It's
right.
It's genuine relationships. It's like, and I'm noticing these things, right? Like if I had a friend, and if I was just asking him for like favors over and over again, am I being friends with him for the favors, or am I being friends with him for the genuine friendship?
You can get something
right?
out of it. Yeah.
It's hard to even figure out where you're at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're able to completely separate yourself from that, then you kind of know what your genuine friendship with that person is.
Yeah.
Like, say, for example, there's a person who's working at a company who has like the dream job, right? And you're just becoming friends with this guy. And you're kind of asking him once in a while, hey, can you forward my resume to the hiring manager?
Yeah.
At like 2 or 3 months down the road, you've asked him a couple of times. I feel like it's hard even for me to gauge where my standing is with that person.
Right.
What's my heart like? It's hard for me to even like figure out where my own heart's at in that friendship. So I feel like if I'm able to like separate that aspect out of it, then I'll go into the relation. Then my heart will stand the test. Like it will go through that test, and whether it passes or fails the test.
Interesting.
You know.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what I'm doing with God sometimes.
Yeah.
That I'm like, hey, why should I go through? Like, I just signed up to be part of this ministry, and I'm trying to like work towards furthering your kingdom. Why does this difficulty have to strike me at this time?
Yeah.
If you took this away from me, I'd be able to pour into the ministry more than I'm able to now with the difficulty. But then again, you know, it's like God constantly teaching me, hey, I want your heart first. Let's, you know, forget about the works for a while. Let's figure out your heart first, you know. And I feel like it's a crucial lesson that I need to learn. And I need to learn it. I feel like I need to learn it the hard way, because easier way is not gonna
doesn't work on you.
It doesn't work on me. But I just like hate learning it the hard way at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a struggle.
You know how you need something, but you just hate getting it. Like,
oh, I know. I know.
It's almost like getting those shots, like vaccines.
There's some things that came easy to me, and there's other things that just like I forget. I have to relearn it all the time. All the time. It's like
do you have any example on that? Like,
for me, like I've never struggled with like substance abuse issues.
Yeah.
Like as far as like sins go, I've never overdrank, binge drinking. I've never even had a cigarette.
Yeah.
Cigars maybe. Never smoked weed. Never even drugs. And I don't stand on that as like some kind of big victory of willpower. It's just like that's just not my thing. It never was a problem.
Yeah.
What is like pridefulness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I want to believe that I'm amazing.
Yeah.
And I spend so much time and energy trying to prove it to myself. And I do that, performance-based, of course, right? So I'm always evaluating, how did I do? How did I come across? Like, what did they think? What's is everybody happy? Does everyone think I'm as amazing as I do? Because if one person disagrees, this whole thing comes falling down.
Yeah.
Like, so, and that's constant. And the frustrating thing about it is the way God teaches that to me is by putting me in positions where there's a whole bunch of people watching what I do.
Yeah.
So there's potential for great successes, right? And I can crap all over it.
Yeah.
By just claiming that glory for myself. So I'm constantly like the stage art.
Yeah.
At the church. I try to like not let people know that I do that. Because the last thing I need on a Sunday is 20 people walking up saying, oh, it looks great, it looks great, it looks great. Because all I'm hearing is, you're great, you're great, you're great. And, this thing is supposed to be an expression of worship and all that, and that's all gone.
Yeah.
All it is like, look how great I am, look how artistic everybody loves me. See, I'm actually awesome, like I think I am. Like that whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't do drugs, but I do that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hard. Yeah.
I feel, I kind of feel the same way about stuff, because I don't have a problem with like, alcohol or cigarettes or anything like that. But same thing, right? Like pridefulness. And it's hard, man, because it's hard to separate. Like, there's no way I can hide myself in front of this on the stage. Like, people that one day, like when I played something, people walk up to me and they were like, man, that sounded really good, kind of just like the album. and kind of
Right.
like there was some person like in. I have a friend who's a worship leader, and I used to
Yeah.
go and play in many different churches with him.
Right.
Because he used to guest lead worship in multiple places, and he used to call me to be the lead guitarist, and that's where I learned like 90% of worship,
Right.
95% of worship related guitar playing.
He was a ringer.
Yeah. So there was like one. There was a place in there was a Fox Theater in Foster City that we went to, and it was like huge place. There's a church that meets there because there's the guy who owns the place is a Christian, and you know he lets them have the thing on Sunday. And you know, man, we had to play a Lincoln Brewster song, and I had to play that Lincoln Brewster solo.
Yeah.
Where people came and they were like, man, that sounded just like the album. I was like, I did a great job, you know.
Yeah, look at me.
So,
I'm so
yeah,
great.
I have to like tell that to myself every day before I
Right.
go up on stage. It's not about you. It's
Yep.
about God. It's not. I have to like tell myself it's not about me.
Yeah.
Point the finger at myself. And you know, and yeah, like you said, God puts you in those situations where
Yeah. You want to grow? Okay.
you want to grow.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Let me stick you right in there.
Yeah.
There's a lady that sings for I don't think it's Hillsong. It's oh gosh. It's one of those bands, crud. I'm blanking on it. I saw it live.
Yeah.
The gal, one of the lead singers, the whole time she's singing, she stands off like towards the back of the stage, facing away, like from the
Wow.
crowd. And it's really irritating as a as a person, like, lady, hey, we're all over here. Like, we came to hear you sing. Like, why are you like being such a turd? But then, you know, thinking about it, I'm like, that's got to be it for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she wants to not be recognized, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you what she looks like.
Wow.
Really. So, yeah, it's got to be something in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super annoying as a spectator. Like, if I was there for a concert, I'd be ticked. Be like, I want my money back. This was a ripoff. I don't know who that lady is. Why is she hiding from me? Yeah.
Yeah. You're like
Right.
5 feet away from the spotlight.
Yeah. Pridefulness.
Yeah.
So what do you think is next for you?
I have no idea.
You got a job, right?
Yeah.
You're working. That's not going to change anytime soon, right?
It might not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Just going with the flow.
That's good.
My plans are just like, you know, few weeks ahead.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have any long-term plans. Other than like I want to visit my parents pretty soon because my dad is going through some health-related issues.
Yeah. Have you been back at all in the last?
It's been like 6 years. I went back once, but I haven't been back ever since. It's been kind of I feel like, you know, a lot of stuff going on here that I couldn't leave and just go and then come back.
Right.
Now I feel like I'm a little bit in a better position to be able to do that. So I want to do it.
Has your brother or parents ever come?
Yeah, they've
this
come
way
here twice though.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've seen I saw them like a year and a half back. That was
Okay.
the last time I saw all of them.
Right on.
But it's since I've been there, it's been a while. Yeah,
What's it like going back?
I don't know. I haven't been there in 6 years.
Oh, that's right. Gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, things.
We'll have to do another interview when you get back from there. Like, what was it like? New Sachin, old place, right?
Right. Like
things have changed.
Yeah, when it's been like 7 or 8 years since I came here for the first time.
Right.
And then I went back 1 year after I came back, and there were a lot of changes, right? And I felt like I was in a completely different place too.
Wow, after only
only a year, yeah.
Weird, yeah.
I mean, because it's so different in India. I mean, right now I know it's going to be a pretty big shock for me, but you know,
6
I've
years.
gotta do it.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I feel that way about where I grew up. It's only 10 miles away. And I drive over there like, what is all this?
Oh,
Nothing
wow.
is the same. Construction everywhere. Yeah, it's weird. Really weird.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's I mean, the climate is going to be different. I mean, everything it's super hot there. You know, if I make a trip in summer, it's going to be, you know, I'm not used to that kind of heat in the past 6 years.
I know, feel like you've been spoiled.
I've definitely been spoiled in that respect.
That's the one consistent thing about anybody who's moved here from anywhere else. Anywhere. Even in other places in the U.S., other South America, especially Europe, India, the whole Asian continent. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, the weather here is great. Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't too happy about it this year because it rained like crazy. I'm sick of it. I missed the drought. Right?
You missed the drought.
You remember that?
Yeah.
When it didn't rain for like 2 years?
Yeah.
Everyone thought we were going to shrivel up and turn into a big raisin and California's going to dry. And then it just rained. Crazy rain for the whole year. It's like, okay, I get it. Are we done yet? Come on.
Hey, you know what? When California was going through a drought and I was like over here and I was like, okay, these guys have a completely different definition of what a drought means.
Yeah, that's true, huh?
Because, I mean, when we have, like, water difficulties, people have to walk, like, miles to go and fetch water in barrels and bring them back home. People
are dying in the street.
Yeah. Okay, so you turn the faucet and the water flows and you're still in drought?
Drought.
I mean, I get it, but it's like, it's just a...
You have a bowl of drinkable water that you poop in.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Drought.
Life is tough over here in the Bay Area. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I remember people were getting in trouble for washing their cars.
Right.
That was the thing. Like, their neighbors would call. I don't know who you call for that. Like, you must know. If you're that kind of person, you know who to call. But they're just calling, oh, that guy watered his lawn. Yeah. Get him. Everyone's put in that fake, stupid plastic grass for everywhere. Rock gardens. Yeah. Why are we talking about that? How did that happen? Going back to India. Right. Okay. Do you have any trips planned?
I'm hoping to plan one this weekend. Plan it out this weekend so I can go, like, not go this weekend, but plan it out this weekend.
Yeah, figure out when,
what dates, you know, all that sort of stuff.
Right on.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
That would be cool. I'm planning to go for, like, at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's so far to go. You have to go for a while. You don't just, like, pop in and out.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta make
it's 17 hours and then, you know, there's jet lag, which will ruin another 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
The gal that I'm dating right now, she just took a trip to Lebanon for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So she says that's about as long as I can handle. Like 2 weeks was cool. Third week gets a little long. Now it's like I'm ready to get home. Like that's enough. Yeah. I think the longest I've ever been anywhere was 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah. That's good. That's pretty good. It almost feels like you moved.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, surprising how quickly you adapt. Like the different settings. It's great.
Yeah, I don't think I adapt that quickly to different settings.
No, you're still... when you said culture shock for America, like what were some of the things that you just found just really weird or confusing? Or I'm always curious about that.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff, like really small things though.
Here, this thing is dipping down. Let's get it up a little higher.
I mean,
I don't want to lose you.
One of the things is like PDA, right? Like PDA everywhere. It's like you never see that in India.
PDA. Oh, public displays of affection. Okay.
Yeah.
Like people holding hands and.
Right. That was like, you know, did they just start kissing in the middle of the road? You know, it's like they're standing in an intersection waiting for the light to, you know, them to walk. They're just. You know, awkward. Especially downtown San Jose, there's a lot of people walking, you know.
Yeah.
That was one of the things. What else? This cultural nuances, right? Like, like if you went to a restaurant with a bunch of people, like one person would pick up the check for sure in India. Here it's like everyone like splits or they like go if it's
Right.
like a Mexican place where you order in like a place and then you sit down.
Yeah.
Um,
Everybody orders
like
separate.
a burrito,
Yeah.
everyone's orders separately.
Right.
My uncle kind of gave me a training on all of those things, like differences that I would notice.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, because I was kind of aware of it then. Because
Right.
otherwise I would just be like, hey, my treat, I'll cover, or I'd be the, broke one, someone else, I'd just wait for
Yeah.
someone else to take care of it,
Huh. Yeah, we do
'cause that's-
Venmo, Cash
yeah,
App,
right.
and all that. Yeah.
Because in India, that was like the most usual. I mean, no one picks up their own thing. Someone will pick up the check and then they go to the restaurant the next time someone else will. You
Right.
know, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's not like one person will do it all the time. It's a rotation, but it never like you never pitch in at that time. And other things too, like just being so independent, like everyone is independent and just
Yeah.
minds their own business kind of a thing.
Right.
India's like so like there's so many neighbors and everyone like minds each other's business. They like and that's a usual thing. Here, if they were to do that, like be considered being nosy and
Yeah. Get out of my business.
yeah,
Yeah.
get out of my property.
Yeah, get off my lawn. Yeah. The shotgun culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. No kidding.
So yeah, and I mean a lot of other things I don't even remember, but yeah, for first coffee. Oh my gosh, see coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah, we put milk in the thing and we drink it with sugar.
Yeah.
It's so different when I got like a black liquid in a cup. I love coffee, by the way. Now,
Yeah.
just black, no sugar, no cream, nothing.
Good man.
Yeah.
Good coffee doesn't need help.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah, you
Yeah.
need to taste the coffee itself, not the cream and the sugar and
Right.
mask it up.
You just put that in. If the coffee sucks, you give it some sugar, right? But,
Yeah, but
So you're
if
converted.
or if the coffee sucks, just throw it away and get better coffee.
Yeah, there you go. you're converted. Good.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. The coffee culture. I've heard that the Bay Area in particular
Mm-hmm.
is one of the highest like gallons per year of coffee consumed anywhere.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
It's probably because of all of these startup companies.
Yeah. Well, we've got. I mean, how many Starbuckses,
Yeah.
Pete's, Phil's, little boutique-y.
Yeah.
Dude, there's coffee. There's coffee at every 7-Eleven, every gas station, basically every major intersection.
Yeah.
You'll have at least one source of caffeine.
You know what they should do though? Start setting up Starbucks right next to 237, like on the freeway itself, because it's like a huge parking lot.
When there's
Might as
traffic,
well utilize that time to
just
go
get a
pick
little
up your
cart.
coffee.
Get a cart and walk down. You want coffee? Okay. That'd be great. I'm waiting for drone delivery.
Yeah, drone
So
delivery
I
of your
want
coffee.
my latte delivered by drone. I'd buy that at least once just to see
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, if they promise to keep it hot while it's being
Yeah.
delivered.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, power it, like have like a heater kind of a thing.
Yeah, because there's fans above it, right?
Right.
Super cool by the time I got there.
Mm-hmm.
It's problems.
Yeah.
Problems with the idea.
I've been going to this one company and working with like a flying, like one man flying airplane kind of a thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
So
that
people-
will avoid the problem of like traffic,
An air bike?
air car or whatever. Doesn't look like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, but
Darn it.
remember that movie?
Yeah, I knew.
But it's like a drone. It looks like a drone, but it's huge. It's got
Yeah.
many propellers. It can lift a human being.
Whoa.
Yeah, and you can sit in there and fly it just like a drone with a joystick.
And the propellers are under.
They're like in the plane of your. Yeah, it's
Oh my
scary.
gosh.
I know.
That freaks me out.
And they're open too.
See, we got to figure out the whole hover thing. You ever see Back to the Future and all that?
A little bit,
That
yeah.
was before you got here, but
Yeah,
it was a big deal.
yeah.
When I was a kid, I thought that by 2025, Or no, was it 2015 or 25? He went to the future, and it was either 2015 or 2025. Either way, we're getting ripped off by the future because he had the hoverboard, the little self-drying jacket, the holographic shark and all that, and then the hover cars was the thing. And they'd figured that out. Dang it.
They figured it out already. It's just the regulations. There's no regulations whatsoever to host a hover. What kind of license would you get? I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
do you want just every random person who can get a license just hovering around everywhere? That'd be a mess.
Yeah.
Power lines? What do you do with power lines?
What do you do with power lines? What do you do with like some engine failure and someone crashes into like the...
Gosh.
Who pays for that?
It'd be a mess. Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah.
I don't want
Crazy
it.
Stuff.
I still want the hover skateboard though.
That would be cool.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
You can't get in a lot of trouble with that unless you go on water. It doesn't work on water.
Yeah.
At least in the movie. They never
I mean,
explain
it's the limitation is the battery, right? Like, 'cause
right.
if you had one of those arc reactors that Tony Stark carries around in his chest, with tons of power,
figure that out too.
You got to figure that out with like a small, tiny little nuclear reactor.
Nuclear skateboard. I don't know. I got 2 more questions for you.
Yeah.
We just hit 2 hours. You believe that?
Dang.
I know.
Time flies by when we're having fun.
I know. And there's no time limit for this thing, but I'm getting tired. But I love to ask people this. If you had to summarize that whole thing that you told me, if you had to summarize, like, what is it about the gospel that you find beautiful enough, to say that it transformed who you are on a bus, and that you devote so much time and energy to serving, and it's the ways that I see it expressed through you. Like, what is it about it that you find so attractive?
I think it's the it's not of this world, is what I would say. And there's so many aspects of it, right, that you can go into, but the aspect that I want to kind of focus into is that men will come up with ways to feel good about themselves. Like, we will make our systems so perfect that we'll even say that, okay, if we do all of these things, we're right with God. But I feel like the gospel is so different that it could not have been crafted by human beings. It has to be from God, because the system is so different from what we're accustomed to.
Yeah.
And I just feel that that's a huge thing. That, I mean, there's no other world religions which will tell you that someone else died for you for the sins that you're going to commit.
Yeah.
And it's, if you think about it, it's the only way for balance to strike in the universe too. Where else is sin gonna go? Like, we are looking for balance in everything. Like, if you look at like thermodynamics, heat transfer, there's no energy loss, no energy gained, like in a system.
Right.
Conservation of mass. If there was like a law of conservation of sin or whatever, where is the sin gonna go?
Yeah.
If it's not put to death somewhere.
Yeah.
It's got to go away. It's got to vanish into thin air somewhere. But it was not vanished into thin air, but the God of the universe took it on himself.
It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's like this universal balance that it strikes, which I mean, I haven't found a more satisfying answer, a different answer, which is more satisfying than this.
Yeah.
It's just, if you come to think about it, it's the only way that balance could be. Because I kind of think about a lot of things very logically. I'm not too proud of that, because I can get too logical about certain things.
Well, you have an engineer's mind. Yeah?
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense.
They drilled that into me. but I mean, if you think about it, like any other worldview, right? Like Hinduism or like I've talked to Hindus before. I've talked to Buddhists before. Of course, I've talked to the LDS folks before.
Yeah.
There's nothing that
what
makes.
do you say to them? Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing that just makes sin. The sins that you commit that just vanish away, and just go away for good. And then you're gonna continue to keep sinning like over and over again. There's no stopping of that either. So
what do you do?
What do you do? And why are human beings like this to start with? If you look at evolution, right? If like a lot of scientists talk about evolution, how that's what something happened in Big Bang, and some protein synthesis happened,
right?
Microorganisms started evolving, whatnot, right? Evolution has, if that's the worldview you want to follow, then evolution has done so amazingly well. It has brought about creatures that are so beautiful, human being that is just so extremely just beautifully made, and yet it's not able to deal with, it's not weeded itself of the impurities of sin and death. It almost seems like everything else is perfect in this world except for that. In like the creation of it, like creation of the human, like the body, if you think about it, how complex it is and how sophisticated it is. And the environment, sin and death. Why is evolution not able to?
Those are pretty big problems.
Yeah. Because it seems like evolution has its, from their perspective, right? Evolution has its own mind where it's just able to, out of billions of years of natural selection, able to navigate a path which is just the most amazing and most phenomenal path of chance and luck and that sort of stuff. But why, when it comes to sin and death, does it fail so miserably?
It's a good question.
I think the Christian worldview in general has, when you look at it the right way, through the right lens of the gospel, has brought about a solution to those problems, and it explains why there is sin and death, and what the solution is to that.
The sin and death that's in the world becomes the thing that actually drives you toward the Savior.
Right?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It still sucks. But at least there's an answer.
Yeah.
Well said. Well, is there anything else you would like to say to the world of the interweb? Anything on your mind?
Man, I would just say, like, I feel like everybody is made with some kind of a call from God, which we either try to suppress, or the sin in us and sin of the world and all of those things tries to suppress. Keep asking these deep questions and keep trying to figure out what the solution for those questions are. Where can you find an answer to those? I mean, just it doesn't, I mean, I wouldn't even like say go to Christianity for the solution. Search it out for yourself. But don't be in a place where you're not like constantly thinking about it, or because that's something that can happen in the Bay Area, especially when you're so busy with a lot of things. Progressing to the next stage of life is what it seems like the whole deal is like. You're starting off, going to school, finishing that off. How do you succeed in the next stage of your life? That
spiritual urgency just doesn't. It's not front row. What's next? What's next?
What's next? Right. So just asking those questions will kind of bring you to a place where you're seeking for answers. one place or the other, and that God will use those situations to reveal Himself.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. All right, well, let's wrap this thing up.
All right. Man, it was so awesome talking to you.
Thank you.
It didn't even seem like it was 2 hours. Man, I feel refreshed, actually.
That's great. Yeah.
I don't feel tired.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just tired because I'm tired. But,
Yeah.
But I love these conversations, because this is, it's an amazing thing to me that one God can so intricately interact with every individual human in so many different ways. Everyone's got these stories, and I've done a handful of these now, and it just blows me away that this is not some kind of manufactured thing. This isn't of people. There's no way that the story that you've told and the story that the last person that sat there told, all these things, this is so far beyond anything that we could ever dream up. Like, no one's going to make this up.
Mm-hmm.
The way that God reaches into people's lives and changes who you are, literally. Sometimes in a moment, on a bus.
Yeah.
You're different now.
Mm-hmm.
Bam. And the trajectory of your whole life takes a right-hand turn.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That this is a real God. And, real people. I say it in the intro all the time. It's a real God with real people living real lives. It's not always pretty.
Mm-hmm.
But it's glorious because we get to discover more about who this guy is. And it's just... Yeah, I love doing these talks.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, sometimes life can be difficult, right? Like, it can be really difficult and get suck really bad.
Yeah.
But did the Israelites think that when they were going through all of those difficult times, did they think that millions of people are going to come to know of the knowledge of Christ because by looking at their suffering and how God worked in their lives?
They have no idea.
Have no idea. So God is He works like from the beginning to the end through generations. It's hard. It's impossible for us to fathom why or what's happening and why it's happening.
The mechanics of it just blow me away.
Right?
Just how the interactions of life and relationships, it's just like the web.
Yeah.
Is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that, part of the deal with when we get to heaven is that maybe we could, rewind the tape and understand some of the connections.
Make those connections.
I see what you were doing there. Like that guy I talked to 20 years before. How did that change all these things? I never even heard about all that. Like, that's what happened. Oh, those kind of, I would love to.
Oh yeah.
To hear those stories. I don't know if we'll get to.
I think we will.
I'm not sure if I can support that scripturally, but that'd be cool.
If God had a sophisticated video.
Those Vegas security rooms, all the cameras and TVs everywhere, the little joystick. That'd be cool. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, I wonder about that all the time. Because there's a lot of kids. For example, that there's 120 kids every week, but families come, families go, and I know they move away, or and you just never know, what was the impact we had? What happened there? I just love to know all that.
Right. Yeah.
But there's, these interviews are a cool kind of snapshot of where you're at now, and what's next and what God's doing. He's busy.
He is
busy guy. He's very hands on.
Yeah.
It's not like he spun this thing up and just flicked it away. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
He's in this thing. It's cool, man. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. Give me a little fist bump over the table.
Fist bump. Boom. Boom.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, folks, and that is the end of our interview today. Thank you so much for listening to the Great Stories podcast. Again, if you heard something in there that spoke to you, that reminded you of something, give me some feedback. Shoot us an email. Just let me know what you thought of the show. Your comments are so valuable to me. And I don't claim to have this thing down yet, so let me know what you think. Of course, if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com and search for The Great Stories Podcast. If you want to share the episodes, give it a like, give it a rating. If you subscribe on Stitcher or Apple Podcasts, give it a thumbs up or a 5-star, and that'll just help it come up quicker for those who need to hear this message. And again, if you want to come on the show, shoot me an email at thegreatstoriespodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you. Good night. Oh, hi. You're still listening. That's fantastic. You have discovered the Easter egg at the end of the Great Stories podcast. This is a portion of the show where I just kind of talk about whatever's on my mind. And if you want to listen to it, great. If you don't, turn it off. That's fine. The show's over. So I'm just pondering a bit as we're pulling into summer here, and things have been so busy in my world. Just all the way up through Easter here. And there's kind of a low right now as I'm kind of winding up and getting ready for the sprint that is summer in my world. And there's one thing in particular I had time to do recently, and that is the street ministry. And that was kind of a training day leading up to a mission trip that I'm taking to Las Vegas. And I'm actually planning on doing a couple interviews with folks in Vegas who work there as local missionaries for a church there called Grace City. And their mission is to turn Sin City into Grace City, which is a very bold mission. And I'm looking forward to that trip. I'm excited about it. And just going out and doing street ministry was cool. And, you know, as I'm excited about it, I'm also somewhat conflicted about it because, man, I feel like, and I brought this up with Sachin, that I really want to believe that I'm amazing. And I think one way that I go about doing that is by, proving to myself how much better I am than other people. And who easier to pick on than homeless people? Which is primarily who the Vegas trip does outreach to, and our Resonate street ministry too. And I find myself, I fall so heavily into that judgmentalism and just looking down on people and just being really judgmental of them. And it's so hard for me to develop eyes to see people the way Christ does. Because when he looks at a homeless person, let's say, the thing we always hold up is that, oh, this person's on drugs or they're drinking or, whatever horrible thing got them where they are. See, it's their fault, But the thing is that Christ knows that. He's not impressed by that. Those things don't disqualify them from his love, his affection, his salvation. Like those are not the unforgivable sins. And he sees this person as his precious child just as he sees me. But dang it, why can't I see them that way? And that's as I'm winding up for the Vegas trip. I'm praying like, God, can you please open my eyes to see these, in air quotes, those people the way that you do. I don't want to sit there and judge them or think that I'm somehow better than them, or that even to believe that I'm coming to them with this message and I have what you need, that kind of stuff. Like I think the biggest win for me on this trip wouldn't be to go out and evangelize Vegas, I think it would be to evangelize the parts of my heart that are still so dark and self-centered and judgmental towards people. Talking about it, I'm not proud that that's there. I think this is an ugly part of myself that I don't like. I want God to uproot that. And I think going on trips like this, even though there's parts of me that are resistant to it, I think, just like Sachin was saying, or we were talking about in there, that like God will place you in circumstances to challenge the things that you need to be challenged in. And going along with this Vegas trip is going to be that. So those of you listening who are of the mind to pray, if you'd just throw a prayer up for me, to open up my heart and to be given eyes to see people the way that he does, and to just have a fraction of the amount of love that he has for them. Because I think that's the greatest evangelical tool, is to just reflect, not produce, but reflect what God's done, the love that he has. That'd be awesome. So there you go. Thanks for listening. I will catch you next time. See ya.